Disclaimer: this video delves into profound emotional themes that weave through intricate family dynamics. While it may not feature explicit content, we recommend that viewers exercise their discretion. It was a tranquil Sunday night, one of those rare evenings when the world seems to pause. Motionless, with the dishes washed and the laundry neatly folded, a rare tranquility enveloped the space. For once, the relentless hum of work emails and the weight of overdue errands faded into the background, leaving a serene silence in their wake. There I sat, nestled comfortably on the couch, a cozy blanket draped over my lap, my attention partially captured by a documentary about the daring adventures of polar explorers. Nothing particularly noteworthy, merely a whisper in the wind. Next to me was Jeremy, my stepson. A 22-year-old college senior has just returned home for spring break. He sprawled across the couch as if it were his throne, one leg hanging off the edge, phone in hand. Yet his gaze seemed to wander beyond the screen, lost in thought. Over the past 5 years, we had woven a tapestry of comfort and familiarity with one another, neither the closest of companions nor complete unknowns. We exchanged light-hearted banter, cherished inside jokes, and bonded over our shared love for Thai takeout. At the age of 17, Jeremy witnessed the union of his father, Malcolm, and me. It's a challenging time. Yet, I must commend Jeremy. He always ensured I felt included, never casting me as an outsider. His face bore a gentle kindness, with weary green eyes that seemed perpetually lost in deep contemplation. Even in the quiet moments, there lingered a comforting understanding between us, a connection that needed no words. Honor. In the vast expanse of the cosmos. At times, there exists a gentle warmth. That night, the house was quiet, with Malcolm away on a late shift at the hospital, leaving just the two of us in the stillness. The remote lay hidden beneath a couch cushion, and neither of us had the inclination to stir from our comfortable perch. We found ourselves in a quiet moment, one that felt comfortable, simply existing together. And then, as if summoned by the very air around him, Jeremy spoke. "May I pose a question to you?" I cast a quick look his way, anticipating the familiar question. "What's the Wi-Fi password?" Once more, have we resolved the issue with the dishwasher yet? Yet, there was a weight to his voice that belied any sense of casualness. A palpable tension lingered in the air. It felt as though he was poised at the brink of an immense unknown. Caught in a moment of hesitation, contemplating whether to take the leap. Of course, I replied. Silencing the television, he averted his gaze from me. He gazed intently at the screen, as if lost in a moment that had long since paused. His focus unwavering despite the stillness of the image before him. He rubbed his palms together, took a breath, and uttered words that caught me completely off guard. It was not impolite. It was not unkind. It wasn't even out of place. Yet it descended with the gravity of something profound, something ancient. It was as if a hidden door had just creaked open, and in that moment, I felt the rush of air from the other side enveloping me. My heart began to quicken. I endeavored to maintain a calm expression, yet within my mind raced through every conceivable motive behind his question. Could he truly be serious? Was Malcolm aware? Did I know? I believed I had a grasp on the essence of our family. I believed I understood where the limits lay, yet in just one sentence, Jeremy captivated them. There was no forewarning. There is no introduction, and there it stood right before me. And I found myself unable to erase it from my mind. My gaze lingered on him, uncertainty swirling within me, words eluding my grasp. My throat felt parched. My heartbeat resounds. He finally turned to face me, his expression serene, almost tender, yet with a kind of clarity that revealed this was more than just a fleeting thought. He had been clutching it for some time, perhaps even decades. I began to speak, words poised on the tip of my tongue. But just as I was about to, the sound of the front door unlocking reached our ears. Malcolm had returned to the place where his heart belonged, and just like that, whatever we were on the verge of expressing, whatever was about to unfold, transformation lingered in the air, suspended in time, as if caught in a moment. Poised to complete its tale, the front door creaked open, and from the hallway, the comforting sound of Malcolm's voice echoed, drawing attention like a well-told tale. Jeremy and I both turned instinctively, as if nothing had transpired. As if our living room was not. In an instant, it paused, as if the world itself was holding its breath. "Greetings, you as well," Malcolm remarked, emerging into sight and placing his bag down. Lowered. He appeared weary, clad in his hospital scrubs, his hand massaging the back of his neck. "I had no idea you two would be awake." With a sudden burst of energy, Jeremy sprang to his feet. "Greetings, father. I was merely making my way up the stairs." I observed him depart. Silence enveloping the space between us, not a single word exchanged. "Cast your eyes behind." I felt the urge to halt him, to plead for him to remain. Yet, I chose not to. Instead, I simply remained seated, attempting to feign that I remained composed. Malcolm sank beside me with a weary sigh. A lengthy shift awaits, I promise. If just one more patient comes in, I nodded, a faint smile gracing my lips. Yet, my thoughts continued to whirl in a chaotic dance. What Jeremy had asked, that one question, echoed in my mind like a melody on repeat. He had not been filled with anger when he posed the question, only truthful, excessively candid. Sleep eluded me that night. I found myself pondering whether perhaps I had misread his intentions. Perhaps it wasn't quite as burdensome as it had initially appeared. Perhaps I was delving too deeply into it. Yet, the reality was, I wasn't perplexed. I understood precisely what he was conveying. I found myself at a loss, unsure of how to handle it. The following morning, I found myself gazing into my coffee as if it held the secrets I sought. Jeremy had always possessed a quiet demeanor, a thoughtful nature, and a seriousness that seemed beyond his years. He possessed a keen awareness, always attuned to the subtle shifts in your world. Whether it was the new scent of your shampoo or the unique lilt of your laughter that day. From the very beginning, he had a way about him that was always courteous and thoughtful. A true gentleman even when I first settled in. Our eyes did not meet in a spark of love at first sight. Nowhere near it, yet as time passed, something genuine had blossomed. We may not have shared the same blood, yet there was a bond between us that took me by surprise. It lacked a nurturing essence. It lacked any sense of romance. Well, I certainly didn't believe it was. He had always been just my stepson, nothing more. Yet in that moment, uncertainty clouded my mind regarding his perception of me. Later that day, I stumbled upon Jeremy in the kitchen, grappling with the toaster as if it had wronged him in some profound way. He looked up, his eyes cautious, and I understood then that he was just as uncertain as I was. Last night, I began, my voice barely above a whisper. He kept his gaze fixed downward. Your silence speaks volumes. I believe I do. We lingered in quietude. At last, he shifted his gaze in my direction, his expression gentle yet shrouded in mystery. I had no intention of making things awkward. I simply had to express it. For some time now, it has been my constant companion. I nodded slowly, a weight settling in my chest. Why at this moment? He paused, caught in a moment of uncertainty. As the time draws near for my departure, upon completing my studies. And if I didn't speak it now, the chance would slip away forever. A peculiar discomfort lingered in my throat, making it impossible to swallow. This was not merely a fleeting remark. This carried significance. Reflection. In the grand tapestry of life, timing weaves its intricate threads. Once upon a time, there was a character named Jeremy. With a gentle tone, I expressed my concern. I care about you. You belong to this family. I simply require a moment to grasp the significance of this. For you, dear listener, for me, for your father. In that moment, his eyes danced with a flicker of intrigue. A delicate balance of sorrow and liberation. I spoke not to bring about any ruin. I promise, I simply had to speak my truth. I felt compelled to connect. I did not. Instead, I took a step back. On that fateful afternoon, Malcolm proposed an adventure, a dinner out on the town. All three of us. Jeremy nodded in agreement, as we found ourselves seated across from one another in that quaint little Italian restaurant. Feigning normalcy, a realization began to dawn on me. This lingered, refusing to fade into the background. It had already transformed the entire landscape. The dinner table buzzed with light conversation. Malcolm sharing tales of hospital politics, while Jeremy inquired about the whereabouts of his beloved hot sauce at home. With a playful demeanor, I engaged in the moment, beaming, acknowledging, and chuckling at just the right intervals. Yet, I found myself absent from the moment. I observed Jeremy's expression, attempting to discern what had changed since the previous evening. He appeared composed, excessively serene. Once the meal had come to a close, Malcolm proposed that we stroll around the block. Jeremy moved on, mentioning he had a paper to complete. I refrained from pushing. The moment we crossed the threshold, a wave of relief washed over me, as if I could finally breathe freely. Are you all right? Malcolm inquired, casting a sidelong glance in my direction. Indeed, I was not truthful. Malcolm was completely in the dark, and I found myself unprepared to share that with him, not because I wished to guard secrets, but rather because I found myself at a loss for words to convey it. How do you share with your husband that his son has just revealed something that lingers in your mind upon returning home? Jeremy vanished into his sanctuary, headphones securely in place. The door closed quietly. I lingered outside for a moment, the urge to knock tugging at me. I did not. With a swift motion, I donned my coat and stepped out into the world beyond. As I navigated the winding streets of town, uncertainty lingered in the air, guiding me until I found myself standing before a charming, tranquil cafe nestled close to the art center. In a world filled with uncertainty, There was one soul I confided in, my sister Leah. She toiled through the night, a keeper of secrets. Aware of every detail of my life, even the unspoken truths that lingered in the shadows. As I stepped through the door, her face fell, a silent tale unfolding in that fleeting moment. What transpired? I believe Jeremy. I hesitated. Casting my gaze about. It seems to me that he harbors some feelings for me. She paused, her eyelids fluttering momentarily. What are the emotions that come with having a stepmom? I gave a nod. Leah's expression grew tense. Did you utter a word? I recounted the events to her, omitting no detail. Observing as she absorbed each moment in real time. What will you do next? She inquired. I'm uncertain. Leah drew closer. You're not losing your mind, all right? What you see before you was beyond your wildest dreams. Yet. This is not a matter you can continue to linger over. She was indeed correct, without a doubt, yet. What filled me with dread was the realization that a part of me was reluctant to bring it to an end. Not completely. That single thought twisted in my stomach, leaving me feeling utterly unwell, for the reality was. The situation with Malcolm had been far from ideal for some time now. The flame had flickered out. Our connection resembled that of colleagues rather than romantic partners, warm-hearted, reliable. Weary. In the depths of that emotional chasm, I began to sense a solitude deeper than I had ever dared to acknowledge. Jeremy observed. He was ever observant. That was the source of my greatest fear. Upon my return home, the clock had already struck 10. In the stillness of the house, a profound silence enveloped the space. I quietly moved past Malcolm, who was dozing on the couch, the soft hum of the TV filling the room. As I strolled by Jeremy's room, the door stood slightly ajar. There he was, perched on the floor, a sketchbook resting gently in his lap. As his gaze lifted, our eyes met across the distance. Greetings, he murmured gently. I paused, caught in a moment of uncertainty. Shall we converse tomorrow? He offered the faintest of nods. Indeed, without a doubt. I began to step away, yet his words pierced the air, halting me in my tracks. I spoke not to complicate matters. In this vast tapestry of life, I wanted to share a simple truth. There is someone who truly sees you. That struck a chord within me that had long been untouched. The sort of event that transforms an entire evening. It transforms the narrative. The dawn arrived with a weight that lingered in the air, even before the sun graced the horizon once more. The night slipped away without granting me the solace of sleep. The thoughts in my mind raced on, refusing to quiet down. The echoes of Jeremy's words lingered in my mind. A relentless refrain that made it impossible to continue the charade of ignorance. As Malcolm set off for work, I found myself already lost in thought, pacing back and forth. I found myself reluctant to engage in this dialogue, yet the absence of it was beginning to weigh heavier on the heart. With a gentle rap, I approached Jeremy's door. Shall we engage in conversation at this moment? He opened it without hesitation. As if the moment had been anticipated for a long time, he gracefully moved aside. Granting me entry, I perched on the edge of the bed, lost in thought. He lingered by the desk. Silence enveloped us for a whole minute. At last, I inquired, what do you envision will arise from this? With a heavy sigh, Jeremy ran a hand through his hair, the weight of the moment settling in. Silence reigns. Well, I suppose I have no expectations. I'm not requesting that you share the same sentiments. I simply could no longer maintain the facade of ignorance. I gazed upon him, truly gazed. And for the first time, I perceived the immense burden he had been shouldering. This was not merely a crush. It was a decision rooted in thoughtfulness and intention. It was rich with emotion, filled with sorrow and tempered by control. That's not nothing, I remarked. He gave a thoughtful nod. I understand. The stillness that enveloped us became palpable. I rose to my feet, a swirl of uncertainty clouding my thoughts about what to express next. There was nothing amiss in your actions, Jeremy. But this transforms the narrative. We must forge ahead. I don't want to go back, he said. His words tumbling out with an urgency that hinted at deeper fears, that rattled me to my core. You're my stepson, I spoke with intention. In my heart. You have always held a place within this family. I require your assistance to comprehend the gravity of this situation. He gazed at me, his eyes brimming with a mix of defiance and heartbreak. I'm not seeking to dismantle anything. I simply wish to speak my truth. Yet, I can no longer weave falsehoods. Nor can I linger in this place pretending I don't recognize you for the true essence of who you are. I stood still, caught in a moment of disbelief. Who am I? Truly, I inquired. You are a person who has sacrificed parts of herself for the sake of others, for my father, for me. Long before you realized it, you faded from view, and I noticed that shift in the shadows. I experienced that as a sharp sting. For he was indeed correct, and I loathed the truth in his words. The walls seemed to draw nearer, enveloping the space in an unsettling embrace. The atmosphere hung heavy. The moment is monumental. I love your father, I said, though my voice barely rose above a whisper. I know, Jeremy said. And I'm not seeking to take his place. I simply. It's important for you to understand that you hold significance. To a listener. That another soul perceives your essence completely. I averted my gaze, a constriction forming in my throat. I held back the tears. Not wanting to show my vulnerability in his presence, I wished to conceal the impact of his words. How they found their way into the hidden corners of my heart. Places I had never allowed anyone to reach. In that moment, I sensed it, his hand gently resting on my shoulder just for a moment. He declared his intention to return to school early. If that is what you seek, I shall grant you the room you seek. I turned around. And for a fleeting moment, we both stood there. There exists a certain essence, unvoiced yet unmistakable. Not a word was spoken between us. Yet, deep down, we understood that a boundary had already been crossed, not in a physical sense. Yet, on an emotional level, and there's no tidy path leading back from that. From below, the front door let out a haunting creak as it swung open. Malcolm had returned to the place he belonged once more. I caught the sound of Malcolm's keys clattering onto the table below. Once more, the timing was simply dreadful. I withdrew from Jeremy in a hurry. Clearing my throat as I brushed my face with my sleeve, he retreated as well. An electric tension crackling between us like an unseen force. I'll go to my room, he murmured softly, as if sharing a secret with the shadows. No, I said, grasping his arm firmly. All is well. Only embrace the ordinary. As we descended the stairs side by side, maintaining a respectful distance, we stumbled upon Malcolm, retrieving remnants from the fridge as if all was perfectly fine. Hey, I thought you were pulling a double, I remarked, aiming for a laid-back vibe. Received a call to halt. Once more, the whispers of budget cuts escaped his lips. To be frank, I'm not even upset. With a swift motion, Jeremy glided past the U.S. and vanished into the living room. Malcolm faced me, a weary smile gracing his lips. Is all well in this moment today? I paused for a fleeting moment, just a heartbeat too long. Indeed, all is well. Yet, I was far from fine, not any longer. On that fateful night, I ventured into Malcolm's study, seeking an old folder that had long been forgotten, a relic of the past to occupy my restless mind. As I rummaged through the drawers, my eyes caught sight of a manila envelope hidden away in the depths of the bottom drawer. No label. At the beginning, I wasn't prying into things. Yet, there was an element that seemed to drift away. Within lay a collection of printed emails, a multitude of pages filled with correspondence. Everything from a single source. L. Whitmore. I perused the subject lines. Once upon a time, just a few days ago, there was a weekend filled with moments waiting to be shared. You left without a farewell. Don't let me dangle in uncertainty. I stood still, caught in a moment of disbelief. The emails were not directed to Malcolm. They originated from him. And they had no interest in work. My stomach plummeted. I turned to the first one, marked from almost a year past. Easygoing at the outset, warm and inviting, then playful. Then, clear and direct, and they continued on, unwavering. The latest tale unfolded just 5 days past. I settled into the chair, my heart racing with anticipation. Malcolm, my husband, had been unfaithful. Not just a fleeting moment. Not an error, a tale of connection. Everything began to whirl. The space between hearts, the lengthy hours, the obligatory gatherings around the dinner table. Everything fell into place now, and then arrived the true blow. In one of the final emails, Malcolm penned a line that will forever linger in my mind. It seems that Jeremy may have an inkling of something amiss. His behavior has taken on an unusual twist within the confines of our home. If he discovers the truth, it will unravel everything. I found myself gasping for air. Jeremy was aware. That is the reason he had been observing me with such intensity. Why he had gazed at me in that particular manner. Why he claimed to have seen me. It transcended mere emotions. It was a tale woven from the fabric of truth. He was aware of the secret that Malcolm kept tucked away, yet he kept it from me. For he believed I was worthy of something greater. With trembling hands, I let the envelope slip from my grasp. Thoughts swirled in my head, each one weaving a tapestry of possibilities about what this could signify. Jeremy's revelation, his timing was impeccable. It was in that moment, just before Malcolm returned home on that fateful night, that he chose to voice his thoughts. A decision that would echo in the unfolding tale. It was no mere chance that brought them together. He was revealing a deeper truth. He was putting me to the test. And now I found myself at a crossroads of emotions, unsure of whom to direct my anger towards. Jeremy for what he felt, or Malcolm for his actions. Or perhaps I should blame myself for not recognizing any of it sooner. In the shadowy confines of the room, I found myself standing still, gazing into the drawer brimming with clues. The ground shifts beneath my feet. Above us. The floor let out a soft creak, a whisper of its age echoing through the silence. Once upon a time, there was a character named Jeremy. He understood that I was aware now. And once more, everything had shifted. I found myself wide awake. Once more. As the clock strikes 6 in the morning. In the stillness of the house, a profound silence enveloped every corner, yet my thoughts were elsewhere. As I settled into the kitchen table, a world of thoughts began to unfold around me. The manila folder lies before me, untouched since I carelessly dropped it last night. A silent witness to the stories waiting to be uncovered within its confines. In that moment, I realized I stood at a crossroads, faced with two distinct paths before me. Speak not a word or unleash the truth of it all. I found myself pondering which would inflict a deeper pain. The quiet was pierced by the echo of footsteps. Once upon a time, there was a character named Jeremy. He halted, his gaze drawn to the envelope resting on the table. Our gazes intertwined, absolutely no pretense. No escaping this time. You found it, he whispered softly. You were aware, he simply accepted it. He settled into his seat opposite me, his shoulders tight with unspoken tension. I was reluctant to be the one to set everything ablaze. So, what is it that you did? Please share your tale. Jeremy's voice carried a hushed timbre, but unwavering. For I witnessed him gradually diminish your strength. I observed you diminish for a person who remained blissfully unaware. I pondered the possibility. Imagine a moment when someone catches a glimpse of you. I truly witnessed you. It could stir you from your slumber. It's you, indeed. I never intended for it to reach this point, he said, nearly to himself, yet, the moment I uttered those words, I was unable to retrieve it. I shook my head. You ought to have shared the truth of the affair with me. Negative. The conclusion, he regarded me with an expression that hinted at a deep-seated embarrassment. It had become inseparable. With a creak, the front door swung open. Once upon a time, there was a character named Malcolm. We both straightened our posture. He strolled into the kitchen clad in scrubs, anticipating the familiar scene. Then he beheld our visages, the envelope. He paused. What unfolds before us? With a deliberate motion, I rose to my feet. Share your tale with me. His gaze fell upon the folder, and just like that, the tale came to an end. He simply accepted it without a hint of denial. Release a gentle sigh. Like a character poised on the edge of revelation, anticipating the moment of discovery. Before you utter a word, he began. It's important for you to understand that it didn't signify an end. I interrupted him. Do not diminish it. Do not twist it. It is indeed true. I absorbed every word. He cast his gaze between us. Hold on. How long has he been aware? Jeremy rose to his feet. Once upon a time. Malcolm's expression transformed. Ah, so this is the reason behind your peculiar behavior? Why have you been doing that? I asked once more. More precise this time. This tale does not revolve around him. This tale unfolds with you at its heart. No, Jeremy replied. It revolves around the two of us. I recoiled. Malcolm's gaze sharpened. What could that signify? I took hold of the folder and pressed it firmly against Malcolm's chest. Delve into it once more. And this time, recognize that your actions resonated beyond their immediate context. You created gaps. We all endeavored to complete them. Malcolm appeared eager to delve deeper, his curiosity bubbling just beneath the surface. As I strolled by him, I reached for my keys resting on the counter. Where do you find yourself headed? He inquired. I'm uncertain. I feel an undeniable urge to set forth on my journey. Jeremy chose not to follow. He remained there, a statue of stillness. At the threshold, I paused. I'm not leaving forever, I declared, my back still turned. Yet, I find myself in need of some distance. To experience the essence of reality once more, free from the weight of others' guilt or confusion encroaching upon it. And then, in a gentler tone, to Jeremy, I harbor no anger. Yet, I find myself unprepared as well. With a subtle nod, he acknowledged the moment, and I departed, beyond the window. The sky lingered in a muted gray, softly illuminated by the first whispers of morning light. Once upon a time, the street lay silent and deserted, the chill of the air wrapped around everything. A crisp reminder of the season's embrace, yet, after an extended period, a sense of clarity washed over me, as if the fog had finally begun to lift. Not everything was set in stone. At last, it was shattered wide open, and at times, that is the very beginning of the journey to healing. I didn't depart for eternity, only for a brief moment. I found myself at my sister Leah's abode. No grand orations. No disruptions, only emptiness. Room for contemplation. To experience emotions in solitude, free from the gaze of others. To allow the clamor to quiet down. Leah held back. She offered me tea and welcomed me to her couch, allowing me to linger there for hours. Revisiting every moment, Malcolm's tale of romance, Jeremy's revelation, and the intricate space where I had become unmoored. It was difficult to shake the feeling that everything had crumbled around me. Yet, the reality was that fragments of it had been shattered long before Jeremy uttered a single word. His revelation laid everything bare. 3 days passed, and then Malcolm made the call. His voice carried the weight of weariness, neither angry nor defensive. Silence envelops the moment. "I won't ask you to return," he said. "I simply wish to share some words when the moment arrives." And he truly meant it. Thus, I took action. Our paths crossed once more at that familiar Italian restaurant. The very place where the silence between us had first taken root. This time, we embraced the truth without disguise. We exchanged words, truly engaged in conversation. Once upon a time, the distance that grew between us was not born in a single night. In the quiet moments, we allowed bitterness to seep into the spaces between us. "I made mistakes," he said, his voice a whisper, heavy with the weight of his confessions. "Yet, my heart never strayed from the affection I hold for you. I simply ceased my efforts." I held my silence for a moment. Though his remorse was genuine, it could not wash away the pain that lingered. Yet, there was a glimmer of sincerity in his expression that had been absent for far too long. Regret that stemmed not from the fear of discovery but from the deep ache of what had slipped away. Uncertainty loomed over me as I spoke. "I'm not sure what comes next, yet I refuse to step back into a realm simply because it feels known, and for once." Malcolm chose silence. He simply nodded. As for Jeremy, we shared words under the stars the night I returned. It lacked emotion and drama. Simply authentic. He was preparing to set off for school bright and early. Just as he promised he would, his expression was a blend of relief and caution upon spotting me. He assured me that his words were sincere, yet I am aware that we have ventured beyond a boundary. And I carry no pride in that. "I understand your intentions were not to cause any harm," I said, "yet that line holds significance. We must both bear it, not make excuses for it." He gave a slight nod. "I shall maintain my distance. Yet, I hold on to the hope that one day, you will come to understand that my feelings for you were genuine, even if my words fell short of expressing them properly." "I do," I declared, and my conviction was unwavering. He departed with the dawn's first light. No grand farewell. Only a hush, a gentle reminder to tend to what matters, and the soft echo of the front door bidding farewell as it clicked shut behind him. In the weeks that followed, Malcolm and I decided to embark on a journey to couples therapy together, not to rush into solutions, but to explore whether we truly desired them. I have taken up journaling once more, reconnecting with friends I had let slip away, declining, free from remorse. Small moments that brought me back to my true self. It was not a storybook conclusion yet. It was sincere. And that was the essence of it all. For there are moments when the most challenging truths do not shatter us, they rouse us up. They reveal to us the gaps in our lives, the essence of our transformation, and the shadows of the selves we wish to avoid. The tale continues. That marks the dawn of something genuine. Did you find the tale captivating? What tales would you be eager to listen to next? Share your thoughts with me in the observations. I devoured every single one, and if this one strikes a chord within you, be sure to show your appreciation by liking and subscribing. And weave.